Hey guys, thanks for joining me for our next lesson in the measurement topic. Here is our, as per always, riddle to start us off. I reach for the sky but clutch the ground. I sometimes leave but am always around. What am I? I love a riddle that rhymes, just next level. Okay, before we get into today's lesson, here is some revision on the last lesson, which was on perimeter. If you have watched that video, you can pause this video and have a go at these questions for me. Okay, so for the first one on the left, very straightforward. We're asked to find the perimeter, which is just the distance around the edges. This is a hexagon, so it's got 6 edges and they're all 13. So you can do 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13. Or if you want to save some time, you can just do 6 times 13 and get your answer of 78 meters. Okay, next one, a bit more challenging. We have the perimeter of this shape is 48 meters. Solve for x. So we've got these marked sides here are all x's, and these two long ones must logically be 2x. So this is an algebra question. If we add up all these side lengths, add up all these x's, we should get an answer of 48, which is going to leave us with a little equation to solve. So the perimeter is the distance around all the edges. So the 2x plus 2x plus x, 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 x gets us all these. And if I'm summing those all together, I should get an answer of 48 because that is the perimeter. So on the left, we can simplify because we've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 x's. So we'll write as 8 x's. And now we ask ourselves 8 lots of what gives us 48. If you go to your times tables, you know the answer is 6. And so x is equal to 6 centimeters. Okay? All right, so we're done with perimeter today. Now we're going to look at area inside a shape. Okay, once again, something you may have seen before, but we're just going to do a refresher, make sure everybody knows what they're talking about. Okay, so area can be considered the space inside of a 2D shape, whereas the perimeter was the distance around the edge. The area is the space inside. Okay, so here we have a rectangle. It's 10 centimeters wide and it's 6 centimeters tall. Okay, so we can write this as, we can draw up little blocks here, which are called square centimeters. Okay, if you go 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, you create a square that is called a square centimeter, which makes sense. So if I'm asking you to find the area of this rectangle, I'm asking you how many of these little square centimeters are in this shape. Okay, you can count them all up, but a much smarter option rather than counting all these up is to use multiplication. Okay, we've got 10 along this bottom row and we've got 6 rows. So if we just do 10 multiplied by 6, we will get the total number of little squares, which will be 60. Okay, so the area of this rectangle would be 60 square centimeters. All right, so as we explained, for a rectangle to find the area, which is the space inside, here we've got a rectangle. I've labeled this as B for breadth and L for length. You can call it whatever you want. Sometimes I call this the base and this the height. Doesn't really matter. All that's important is that to find the area, we're multiplying these two lengths. Okay, the long number and the short number multiplied together. And this one we're just going to call L times B. You can use whatever letters make more sense to you. Okay, if we think about squares, well, squares are logically pretty similar to rectangles, except instead of a length and a breadth, we have a length and a length. So these are both the same, obviously. So we're just going to call this the side length, and we're going to represent it by S. Okay, so the area of this square would be S multiplied by S. So we get S times S, which is S squared. Okay, and that's actually why we call it squared, because it finds the area of the square. It's all starting to make sense. Okay, and for our next shape we're looking at today, we're going back to our rectangle, which is length times breadth. Or like I said, if you prefer, you can write this as base and height, same thing. Because now what we're going to do is we are going to cut this rectangle in half. Okay, what do you get when you cut a rectangle in half? You get a triangle. Okay, so a triangle is really always going to be half of a rectangle. So that means if you're trying to find the area of a triangle, all you've got to do is find the area of the rectangle, which is base times height, and then you've just got to halve your answer. So you can divide it by 2, or you can multiply by a half, or you can just halve it in your head, okay? Whatever works for you, either way. So the area of a triangle is the base times height and then halved, okay? So multiply by a half. Okay, keep in mind that your base and your height should always be perpendicular. So this length here, the hypotenuse, is not going to be part of our calculation. It's just the base and the height. That's all you need. All right, let's do a few examples to really get our heads around this. We're going to find the area of these three shapes. If you think you know what you're doing, pause the video, have a go. Okay, so for the first one, we have a rectangle. So like I said, to find the area inside, all that needs to be done is multiply the base and the height. Okay, so we'll do 10.2 times 8.7. I'm not going to do that in my head. I'm going to grab a calculator and get the answer, which is 87.74. All right, so in the last lesson for perimeter, we were leaving units in all our answers. Like I said, for this lesson, we have the space inside and it's measured in square units. So it could be square centimeters or square meters. The way we represent that is by writing meters squared. Okay, meters squared, square meters, same thing. Okay, so for area, your answer should have square units. Next one is a square. So again, it's the same as a rectangle. We're just doing the base times the height, and those two numbers are both the same. They're both 39. So we're doing 39 times 39 or 39 squared, same difference. We get an answer of 1,521 square millimeters. Okay, millimeters to the 2. Okay, last one, we have a triangle. We are finding the area. So we said before the area of a triangle is the base multiplied by the height and then halved. Okay, again, you need to be looking at the triangle in the right way. For this one, we need to do a bit of a handstand because the 32 meters is going to be our base and the 18 meters is going to be our height. Okay, so it's not this length and this length because we don't have them. They need to be perpendicular. They need to be at right angles. All right, so for this one, we're going to do 32 multiplied by 18, and we're going to halve that by multiplying by a half. Or you can divide by 2 if you prefer. All right, so putting this through the calculator, or you can do a half of 32 is 16, and then 16 times 18 is, of course, 288. So there is our answer. The question had meters as their units, so we'll do square meters, meters to the power of 2. All right, so as long as you know the method, these 3 questions are pretty straightforward. Let's look at some more challenging ones to really stretch your brains. So here are some composite shapes, some weird looking 2D figures. We're going to try and find the area. Once again, if you think you know what you're doing, pause the video, have a go, see if you can get it yourself. All right, so the way we're going to figure these two out is we are going to split these weird funky shapes into shapes that are not so funky that we know how to find the area of. Okay, for this one, I'm just going to cut this weird oblong shape into 3 rectangles. Okay, because rectangles aren't scary, I can find the area of those really easily by doing the base multiplied by the height. Okay, I'm going to label these to make my working really clear. So I'm just going to call this area 1, area 2, and area 3. So area 1, this rectangle up here, all that needs to be done is just multiply 12 by 7. So that's a piece of cake. Area 2 is a little tricky because we've got some weird edges. We've got to figure out the length and the width of this rectangle. Okay, so think if this length here is marked as 20 and this bit on the end here is 7, then logically this bit here must be 13, yeah? Because this is 20, take away the 7 down here. Okay, so one length in this area 2 is 13 meters, or 13 units, sorry, it doesn't say what units they are. But how long is it? So this part here is 25, and then this part here is the 12 up here. So the length of this rectangle is 12 plus 25, which is 37. Okay, so to find the area of the rectangle in the middle, we need to do 37 multiplied by 13. Okay, 13 here, 37 here. And we get an answer of 481. Again, because we don't know whether this is centimeters or meters, because it doesn't say, I'm just going to write u squared, which stands for units squared. Okay, we don't know what the unit is, but it's something. And for the last one down the bottom, A3, we just need to do 7 multiplied by 18. Gets us an answer of 126 square units. And now to find the total area, we just add these 3 bad boys together, and we get our final answer of 691 square units. Okay. So moral of the story, if it looks scary, just cut it up and take it piece by piece. Same thing over here. This arrow looks a bit scary until we just cut it into two shapes that are less scary, the rectangle and the triangle. Okay, the area of the rectangle, very straightforward. It's just 5 multiplied by 25. And now to find the area of the triangle, we just need to do the base, which we're just going to call this line here, multiply with the height, which we can see is 8. All right, so this here is 5. This here is, we can see on the end is 5 as well, and we've got 5 here. So the base of the triangle here for A2 is 15, and the height is 8. So we'll do 15 multiplied by 8, and then we'll times by a half. Okay, if we do that properly, we get an answer of 60. So we're just going to write 60 units squared again. Final answer is just area 1 plus area 2, and we get 185 square units. Okay, there you go. So those are the basics. We're going to look at how to find area of some other shapes in the next lesson, but this is just to get you started with rectangles, squares, and triangles. Very important, so please get into some practice on MathSpace so you guys can become pros at this. And I'll be putting a new lesson up soon with some more funky shapes. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. This one really hits home for me, guys. Yeah.